Hello boys and girls, welcome to BenchART. I'm for Classic, and this is my new type of game that I will be doing in here. I will return with the voiced commented videos this time around, and I will start this one with Remnant 2. So this game was released a couple of days ago, but this time I will sport the new patch, the new update patch that does improve the performance. At least this is what they say about it. And I was trying to find a recommended setting for you to play, and I was just searching a little bit what is the best settings for you to play with, and this might sound a little bit stupid, but yeah, with the 1650 Super, this is the settings that I decided to go with. So it's basically 1080p. I won't be using motion blur since I know that the majority of the people don't enjoy it. No VSync because of benchmarking purposes, no frame rates lock, and upscaling, you can choose in between FSR and Intel XeSS, or obviously none. And for some reason I find Intel XeSS a much better implementation, even at its performance mode, which should be probably lower than 720p. And let me show you why. I'm not sure if you can see it in here. There is obviously ghosting in particles and any other stuff, but everything seems so damn clear, which almost resembles like the OSS. Yeah, I can notice some jaggies when moving on the cables above of us, but if I go with FSR instead, the grass especially gets very affected by this. So I do think that Intel XeSS, it's a little bit more blurrier, but it seems that it doesn't cause as much issues as as AMD FSR. So I will decide to go with Intel XeSS. For the settings, I will be using median settings, mostly because there is a huge difference in quality between median settings and the low settings, especially if you are in places with reflections on the floor and all that kind of stuff. You will notice a huge difference. So I decided to go with median settings, but for having a higher performance, I decreased shadow quality to low, which makes a huge difference in performance, and I can show to you during this video. So as you can see, this is shadows on median. We are having 50 frames, 51 frames per second, 49, and if I decrease the shadow resolution, the shadow setting, shadow quality to low, for some reason I'm having the same. Oh, this is surprising. I'm pretty sure I customized this on other place and the performance improvement was bigger. Ah, there we go, 58. So there was something going on. Probably it was still applying. So, and doing this, you will not be getting 60 frames per second all the time, don't get me wrong, but the experience will be mostly above 60 frames per second. So I'm recording, and because of that you can expect the game to stutter a little bit more, and obviously also you can expect the game to have a slightly worse performance on this video, like 3-4 frames per second less than it should be, but apart from that it should be fine. When it comes to stutter, Unreal Engine is known for having a lot of stutters. Remnant 2 runs Unreal Engine 5, and it's not that it doesn't stutter, but there is no stutter struggle or stutter fest like the majority of Unreal Engine titles. Stuttering is pretty rare. That's the thing you should know about it. Alright, let's go. So I will show you a little bit of gameplay in here. Keep in mind that this is the very early beginning of the game. It's the place where I was able to replicate every time that I wanted to try out different settings. But I'm pretty sure there will be moments where the game will be very, very demanding. And I'm sure of that because, for example, if we look at the consoles are much more stronger than what we have in here. PS5 at least, or the Xbox Series X are more stronger. And PS5 at its 60 frames per second mode, it does drop below 60 frames per second, and sometimes it even decreases the resolution to 720p. So I'm pretty sure there will be moments in this game which will be really demanding. So that's why I decided to stick up with the... Oh no, this is not the options that I want. I want to... How do I use stuff?
happened to these poor bastards? Hey, come on. Let's get some distance between us and
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, let's
over
go.
here.
Let's open this. So like I was telling you, consoles do suffer a lot with this game. So I do think that PC users will suffer too in some areas. And that's why I decided to go with 60 frames per second target. Because I'm not really sure how the game will perform through the rest of it. We don't know how much demanding some of the scenarios will be. Even with this newest patch, there might be very demanding moments. And so it's better to start targeting 60 frames per second, knowing that some areas might drop down to 40 or 30, like it happens on the PS5, for example. And I think this is going pretty good, because Remnant 2 is known as being very bad optimized, and I do understand why anyone thinks about it, because look at this, I'm using upscaling from a native resolution that is below 720p. But I really think that the upscaling on this game does an excellent job. In nowhere in the world I can show this image quality to anyone and people will say that, oh no, you are playing at 720p or even below. No, I'm not. I'm playing at... I'm really playing below 720p. It just doesn't really look like it. The upscaling, I usually don't use Intel XeSS. I usually consider it to be an awful implementation. But seriously, on this game, it's really, really great. It's... I don't know. So let's go to this place in here, which is a tense moment in terms of gameplay. Alright. There will be a lot of enemies, there will be a cutscene, which I will skip a little bit. I will show a little bit just for you to have an idea, and then I will skip it for spoilers, because of spoilers. Alright. By the end of the video, I will be showing a little bit of the differences in Intel XeSS and without upscaling, for you to have an idea how it does compare. Let's kill some people. Some monsters, I mean. So performance did drop a lot in here, and it depends a lot. Whoa.
No!
Here we go. So I will just skip this. Alright, and we have now more people with us. If you want to know the rest, just buy the game or watch YouTube.
Brood are thick down here.
Must be what I felt back at the ward. Wait. You're from the ward?
So I will just look at the MS Afterburner, the averages and 1% low. I will reset it just for you to have an idea of the performance right now. Performance varies a lot. I believe this is because our VRAM is nearly full, and this happens a lot with DX12 games. When VRAM is almost full, instead of stuttering, like it happened in the past with DX11 titles, what happens is the performance gets affected. FPS drops from higher values to lower ones. And recording does consume more VRAM, so recording not only usually gives us less FPS, if we are VRAM limited, we might fail to... we might have big drops in performance because of that. As you can see in this area, performance is just fine. The lowest I've seen it was 50. No stutter struggle. So it just performs fine. Yeah, there was a moment that did drop for 40, but like I said, without recording, I have played that sequence one time and it was above 50. So recording is having a huge impact on VRAM consumption, and also on the frame rate. It should be about 3 to 4 frames per second, but you need to add up the additional VRAM usage that this game have. I will skip this cutscene too, and we have a boss fight in here. Whoa! Whoa! Oh damn it. This is not going well for me. This is not going well. Oh, damn it. Oh! I think I'm going to die. No bullets. Oh no. Whoa. Come on. Oh, damn it. And it's done. So the lowest we have seen through this part, it was 46 frames per second. And the average was 60. Like I said, I can promise you 60 frames per second on this card. But given that consoles do struggle too, and they are incredibly much more stronger, except for Series S of course, but the Series S, the Series X and the PS5 are way more stronger, and the fact that we are running with this quality, it's going pretty well. So I will just skip this. So where do I notice that the upscaler struggles a little bit? So if you look at these flames here over here, at a certain distance, you can notice that the resolution of them are pretty low. You can notice some ghosting going on. And I do believe that if I disable the upscaler in here, well, in fact, this is surprising. Without upscaling, I can't even notice the sparks. So, this is quite the contrary to what I was expecting in here. So, what if I, instead of using performance on Intel Xess, I do use quality in here? Yeah, it still shares the same ghosting, but yeah, I can see sparks where without upscaling, they are non-existent. So this is quite interesting, right? So let's put back to performance. Here we go. So this is one of the areas where benchmarkers usually benchmark the cards, because it's a place which you can replicate, change settings over time. And in here you have reflections on the floor, which if you go with the low settings you lose them. It might not be a big deal for many. Alright. Shadow quality at low, it's not great, but you still have shadows. It's just the resolution of them are pretty low, but you have shadows. They just look very diffuse. Sometimes you can notice stuff like some shadow popping in and all. But I mean, the frame rate, it is pretty good in here. And yeah, you get 50 frames per second overviewing. Keep in mind that this game uses nanite, so there is a huge difference. A huge distance where you can look at. And really, the reconstruction done by Intel Xess is just out of this world for some reason. Like I said, in all games that I did try it out, Intel Xess did suck a lot And for some reason on this game, it's just amazing. It all looks like the original DLSS. So let's hope more games find ways to implement Intel XeSS like this. It's pretty good, awesome. It's pretty good. Look at this. So, yeah, one of the places where I think that the upscaler doesn't work very well is, for example, on the trees. So you can notice those little branches just having a lot of noise in them. But if I raise, of course, let's take a look on the difference of performance for starters. I'm having 75 frames per second, 72. If I use quality, over here, I'm having like less 10 frames per second. Branches seems much more fulfilled, much more detailed, but there are still some noise in them, you see. But yeah, image quality looks obviously more stable because you are reconstructing from a higher resolution. If you don't want to use upscaling, let me just disable it. If you don't want to use upscaling because you hate it for some reason, yeah, branches look way good, way better. So without upscaling, it's obviously superior. I'm having 50 frames per second. I'm not sure what type of anti-aliasing this game is using by default, but I'm assuming that it won't be enough for you when you have big fights, since I'm having 30 frames per second, 29 in here. Even if this recording is consuming more frames than it should, I think it's quite complicated to play like this, you see. You might have drops below 30, so my recommendation is for you to always use an upscaling, whatever, if you want FSR or Intel XeSS. I just go with the performance because it is what keeps me more near to the 60 frames per second, and because I think that the drop in quality, it's not really that big. I can notice that it is using upscaling, but if I never looked at the native resolution, I could never tell that I was playing at such low resolution with such low upscaling technique. So now the differences between medium and low. This depends a lot on the scenarios where you are playing, but one of the things that I noticed that I lose immediately are the reflections. So I can go in here and put the game on low. Alright, just for you to have an idea. And you lose the reflections, which are replaced for cube maps. Alright. Performance is obviously better, but even at low settings with the lowest upscaling technique being used, I can't guarantee 60 frames per second. So if I can't have 60 frames per second anyway, I think I do prefer to simply use median, which have most of the game core visuals, alright, and use that upscaling. This is the lowest settings you can go for in this game, and it still looks pretty good if you ask me. This still looks really good for the lowest settings possible. It's just that it is so damn demanding. That's the surprise part for me. Alright, I think that's all that I want to talk about Remnant 2 performance. Hope you did enjoy this new form of quick performance look. I think since I talk in here, I think I can do better information about it. Hope you like my new mic too. It's not as professional as the other, but it's more easier for me to use and to do videos. So with that, I think you did enjoy it. Leave a comment on the comment section of the video to know if you enjoyed this method. What type of methods of benchmark or video do you want to see in the future? If you like my comments, if you don't like it, or you don't like it, I don't know. What kind of stuff do you want me to do with the videos? So with this, I hope you keep enjoying the rest of the videos that I will upload on the future, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.